Here, I'd like to welcome you to our regular live holistic pet health and wellbeing show here on YouTube and Facebook. If you're watching live, welcome. If you're watching on the replay, welcome. Please do say hello and let us know who you are if you're watching in the comments. So today I want to talk about empathy and how your empathy, when you wake it up and get it online so it's functional, can be a really amazing way to connect more deeply with your pets and to heal your pets. So we've got heaps of people now popping up on the live. We've got 13 of you, so please say hi in the chat. I'd love to hear from you. Let me know where you're from and what animals you have. Now what we're going to do is dig into empathy. Also, if you have any questions as I'm talking about empathy and how you connecting with your natural empathic abilities can help your animals, please ask in the chat and in the comments, and I will answer your questions. So what is empathy? Empathy is a natural gift that all living beings share. Now, empathy is what you might call a sensory pathway, what you might call a specific special kind of awareness. Empathy is something that you experience in your body, in the sensations, in the sensory awareness inside your body. Now, in general, the wilder an animal is, the more sensitive their empathic sensory awareness is, and the more domesticated an animal, or a human, is, the less sensitive the empathic sense tends to become. It's especially so for humans. I'll explain a little bit about why that is in a minute. Hi, Marlene from Belgium, Shirlene from New Zealand, Sue from somewhere with puppy and 3 cats, Monet from Brisbane, Chrissy from Cranbourne, just up the road from where I am right now, in Frankston. Welcome, everybody. And if you're watching on the replay or if you're watching on YouTube, please do like the channel so you can get the next one that will come out in a couple of weeks. So let's define empathy. I'm going to consider a couple of dictionary definitions first. So you can define empathy as the ability to understand and share the feelings of another. You can also define it, which is a little bit more complex and longer definition, but it's one that I think is pretty clear and a good one, is the action of understanding, being aware of, being sensitive to, and vicariously experiencing the feelings, thoughts, and experience of another, of either the past or present, without, and this is important, having those feelings, thoughts, and experience fully communicated in what they're calling an objectively explicit fashion. In other words, not being told what's going on. So you can get a strong sensitivity of, awareness of, and experience of the feelings and thoughts and experience of another being in your body, in your awareness. That is empathy. Now, my definition of empathy is that empathy is the sensory awareness of the living experience of another being in your own body. As in, you have a sensory awareness of what the other being is experiencing. Now, your pets are very beautifully empathic beings. Our dogs and our cats in general, I'm going to talk about in general because there's exceptions to just about everything, but in most cases, our cats and dogs are many, many more times empathically sensitive and aware than us humans. So there's a reason for this, in that they're not as domesticated as us in a way, because socially empathy is kind of not very accepted. And when we're little infants, when we're humans, when we're born, we're superbly open and empathic. But then we run into the feelings that live in other humans' bodies, which often are a whole lot of trauma, anger, resentment, bitterness. You know, a lot of people carry a lot of really uncomfortable energy in their system. And when little babies feel that, it's intensely, overpoweringly uncomfortable for them, so we shut down our empathy. We shut it down so we don't have to feel so uncomfortable. Now, But our dogs and cats are very much more connected with their natural empathic sensory awareness than we are. Now, this is the reason why some dogs will growl at people for no apparent reason. Your dog, someone comes up to meet you, or, a friend of a friend comes to say hello, and the dog really gets upset, puts their hackles up and growls at that person. Now, I believe that this is often because that dog is sensing what the human is hiding, in that this person may have intentions of violence towards you, or they may be carrying major trauma and other nasty sort of energies in their body. And even, no matter how they put it out a facade of being just a normal human being that you might think is perfectly okay, your dog can feel the intentions of this human in their body, and they may respond protectively to protect you from what they're feeling from that human. But you are exquisitely empathic. Even if you haven't had these experiences of feeling the experience of another person in your being, well, you probably have. If you walk into a room just after two people have had a stinking fight and they're sitting there pretending as if everything's okay, I just about guarantee you that you would feel like, whoa, something's not quite right here. And that's your empathic sense at some level picking up what's going on. Now, other people do remain open empathically, but they really struggle with it because they're overwhelmed by the feelings of other beings, and they can't stay grounded, they can't stay present. It can be difficult to live with for some people. But what I want to really bring home for you today is that you can absolutely awaken your empathic sensitivity and awareness up, and it can be a blessing in your life. It can be a real support to connect more deeply with your animals, to help your animals heal, but also to connect more deeply with yourself and to let yourself heal. And one of the big things I talk about a lot on this show is how when humans start healing their stuff, it's one of the most profoundly healing things that you can do for your pets. When you start looking at yourself, saying, right, I've got these traumas and these subconscious behaviors and all these other things, maybe I could heal them. Every time you heal that stuff, you have a profoundly healing impact on your animals. So empathy can heal your pets. I'm just going to talk about some of the benefits of awakening and using your empathic abilities to connect with your pets. So you'll be able to connect way more deeply with your pets. You might think you connect already beautifully and deeply with your pets, but I guarantee you once you get your empathy more online, you'll go to a whole new level with that connection, which will take you to places that you can't even imagine until you do it. And you'll be able to experience how your pets are feeling in your body more and more strongly. You get more sensitive to your pet's needs. You'll be able to know where your pet is at, what's going on with them, and then you can really help your pets. You can serve their needs better. So that's the second benefit, is once you can connect more deeply with your pets, then you can understand your pet's needs better. And when you can understand your pet's needs better, you'll be able to then help your pet with problems that they can't tell you that they have. You'll get much more sensitive to things that might be grumbling along under the surface that you just don't know are there, that you're just not aware of. And the third benefit that this happens with waking up your empathic abilities and becoming sensitive in this way is that you open a huge healing doorway with your beloved pets. So when you do empathically experience the pain, the suffering, or the trauma of your pets in your own body, this has a profoundly healing effect for your animal. Now, if you've ever had someone just simply be deeply present with you when you're in severe grief or really upset, without trying to fix you, but you can just see that they can feel how you're feeling, that has such a profoundly healing effect on an energetic level. It's just not funny. So I want to share a little story of how one of our whole energy body balance method students empathically connected with and experienced the distress of a wild galah. This is a small Australian parrot. Now, this fellow is a vet nurse, and he's been in training with us for some time. Now, this galah had a broken wing, so they fixed the wing. The galah was in a splint, had to be kept in a cage. Galahs are real flock birds. They have this community that they live in. So he was isolated from his community. He was out in his cage every day. This fellow would take the bird out in his cage out in the lawn. All the other galahs would come down and sit around outside the cage and squawk and talk and have a talk with him. Then they'd have to take him back inside. Now, after he was inside with this bird after this had happened, practicing one of the skills from the web training that helps you support greater empathic connection and sensitivity. And when suddenly he literally experienced in his body this little bird's loneliness and fear and trauma, and it was so powerful that he was crying for about 15 or 30 minutes from this, feeling this animal's connection with him and feeling what this animal's suffering was. But the thing is, these galahs, they are bitey little birds. They are pugnacious, and before this happened, every time he went to go and change the water or change the food, this bird would be trying to bite his fingers and attacking him and trying to get him out of his cage. But after this shared empathic experience with the bird,